Okay, in this section we're going to cover how to sight in your scope, and the same instructions for the scope can also be duplicated if you choose to use a red dot or a 3-dot red dot. Now, we just came off the bench and we just installed our scope, lining up our bore scribe marks right out of the box. Brand new crossbow, brand new scope right out of the box. And what I've also done is I've made sure that in my arrow selection that I've matched the weight of my field points. In this case I've chosen 100 grade field points. That's the red hot match grade field points, because I know that when I go hunting this fall, I'm also going to be using a 100 grain broadhead. In fact, it's a Cross Pro FX 100 grain broadhead. I've also taken the extra bit of time and I've numbered my arrows on the cock vane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, so I can keep track of my shot sequence. So I know as I move my group, I know which arrows I'm shooting, and I can always inspect my arrows 1 through 6. When I cocked the crossbow, I also made sure that my limb load was even, and I used a deluxe roller rope cocker. So now I'm confident with everything installed, locked down, and the crossbow loaded tight. I'm ready to take my first shot and see where it groups. As I shoot this crossbow at 20 yards, I'm always going to aim at the bullseye. Now, out of the box, I may not hit the bullseye, but I'm sighting in my scope. So the first shot is always going to be, in fact, all the shots will always be at the bullseye. So I line it up, safety off, nice gentle squeeze. Okay. Looks like I'm about 2 inches to the left and maybe about a half an inch, maybe an inch or so below the bullseye. So I'm going to make a good 3-shot group to make sure that I'm consistent in my shooting to eliminate any errors from shot to shot. 3 shots are going to be the rule as I adjust my scope. Safety off, arrow number 2. Right beside arrow number 1, one more shot. This is arrow number 3, safety off. Good group. Let's go see how we did. Okay, so this is arrow number 1, 2, and 3, aimed at the bullseye, brand new out of the box. All 3 shots I was holding on the bullseye because I want to see where the scope is shooting. So I can see that I have to move my scope approximately 1 inch up to hit the bullseye and approximately 2 inches over to hit the bullseye. So I'm only going to make adjustments in one plane at a time. The first adjustment I'm going to make is I'm going to move my arrow group over to the right and hopefully hit right here at about the 6 o'clock. Once I'm satisfied that I'm hitting here, my left and right is correct, then I'm going to make my second adjustment and move it up so that I'm in the center of the bullseye. And this is shooting with field points. When I'm satisfied that I've made the group with field points, I'll switch to my hunting heads, which is the Cross Pro FX 100, and try and also duplicate the shot that I made with the field points. Let's head back to the bench and I'll show you how we make these adjustments now. Okay, so after firing our first 3 arrows, we know that we have to move our group approximately 2 inches to the right. Well, understanding the geometry and the construction of the scope, we want to discuss just for a moment what's called minute of angle. So at 100 yards, rifle scopes are designed to move 1 click on the turret is a half an inch. So 1 click is a half an inch at 100 yards. However, at 20 yards, we're 5 times closer. So what we have to do now is understand this new rule. And remember this, 10, 1, 20. 10 clicks for 1 inch of movement at 20 yards, 10, 1, 20. So I know that I want to move my group approximately 2 inches to the right. So the first thing that I'm going to do is undo the turret cap and count. You can see here on the dial, if I want to move my group to the right, then I'm going to go 20 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I like to put the cap back on so that I don't lose it. Even though I'm in a controlled environment, these things have a habit of wanting to roll and wander away. Then I'm going to get up, cock the crossbow, and reshoot it. Here we go. Very important that we inspect every arrow after we shoot, and in fact, this is arrow number 1. It looks like arrow number 2 collided with the back side of the shaft and actually damaged the nocks. So I'm going to discard this arrow for now and set it aside, and for the sake of speed for the demonstration, I've taken another arrow and remarked it number 1. So now we're on to the shooting. We just made our adjustment to our windage, which is on the right-hand side of the scope. That's the left and right adjustment. It's called windage. And we moved it approximately 20 clicks, trying to move our group to the right about 2 inches. And we'll flip the safety off, and we'll see how we do. Okay, that was arrow number 1. This is arrow number 2. Okay, that's our first adjustment. Let's see how we did. Okay, after making about 20 clicks for our windage adjustment, we wanted to move our group over here to the right. You can see that we're still about a ½ an inch low of center. Although one arrow hit the bullseye, almost dead center in the middle, we can see consistently we're getting a great group. In fact, we destroyed or damaged one of the nocks. So this arrow here definitely is going to be discarded because we also destroyed the carbon on the back. But in terms of confidence, that can just demonstrate to you off of a bench just how accurate a crossbow can be. So I'm well pleased to see that my crossbow is grouping as well as it is. I just have to make some fine-tune adjustments now to make sure that my groups move up about a ½ an inch to hit the bullseye. So let's go back to the bench and we're going to adjust our elevation turret. We're back at the bench and we just made our 3-shot group to see that our windage adjustment to the right moved about 2 inches. That was 20 clicks. So now we want to move our group up as we identified up close to the target. We want to move our group up approximately ½ an inch. So remembering 10-1-20, 10 clicks will move it 1 inch at 20 yards. We only want to go half that, which is ½ an inch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're moving our group up. So we don't lose it, we put our cap back on, and now we're ready to try again. Grab a roll of rope cocker and cock the crossbow. Slide the arrow in over top of the anti-dry fire, seated well against the string, safety off, and always holding in the middle. Squeeze the trigger nice and slow. Good. Shot number 2. Good deal. Let's see how we did now. After making our windage adjustment over here to the right and making our elevation adjustment, moving the group up, always holding on the bullseye, we can see that shot number 1 looks like it split the line of the bullseye. That's arrow number, that's arrow number 2. Shot number 1 was touching the line. And finally, now I'm satisfied, arrow number 3, right there, is dead center in the middle of the X. At this point now I can see that I'm holding a group size of about 3/4 of an inch. And off of a bench with a crossbow, considering your heart rate and breathing, everything else, I'm satisfied now that that bow is shooting as well as it can shoot. I'm ready to move on and make sure that my broadhead also holds in the same group. Let's go and test out our broadhead next. We're back at the bench. Everything is locked down. I'm going to take another arrow here, another red hot high velocity arrow, tipped with our Cross Pro FX 100 grain broadhead. Again, it matches the same weight as my practice points, my field points. Aiming very steady on the bullseye. Okay, you can see that that broadhead, pull this up for just a little bit more, just cut right at the top of that bullseye. I mean, that's only a 1/4 of an inch difference. And that to me is field point, broadhead combination accuracy. I'm confident now that armed with a rangefinder, I can take my Parker Tornado, my red hot arrow with broadhead on there, and take any deer that I choose to harvest this fall. So in a very short exercise of about 7 shots, I have now just sighted in my crossbow. Let's take our broadheads, fill up our quiver, and head to the woods.